About that time, the captains are here. Fee, Caitlin, how are we feeling heading into your first draft as captains here?
The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game wasn't just another showcase of elite women's basketball. It became a defining moment in the league's history, a cultural flashpoint that revealed the growing divide between fan enthusiasm and player politics, all centered around one name, Caitlin Clark. A name that, within just 2 seasons, had rewritten the rules of engagement for a league desperate to grow but divided on how to handle the phenomenon she became. The story begins not with a game, but with a number: 1,293,526. That's how many All-Star votes Caitlin Clark received. A staggering figure that didn't just top the leaderboard, it shattered WNBA history. To put this into perspective, the combined total of the top 30 vote-getters in 2023 was 1,171,000. Clark single-handedly eclipsed that, breaking a record while recovering from a groin injury. She wasn't even playing, and fans still voted like their lives depended on it. The Caitlin Clark effect wasn't hype, it was a revolution. ESPN made the announcement with the kind of excitement usually reserved for NBA stars. Clark would not only be playing in the All-Star Game, she'd be hosting it in Indianapolis. Her home court, her fans, her moment. The narrative had all the elements of a comeback story. Injured star returns to her team, becomes the top vote-getter in league history, and now leads as captain in the most anticipated All-Star Game to date. It was the ultimate full-circle moment, but what came next took it from feel-good story to legacy-defining saga. Her co-captain, Minnesota Lynx powerhouse Napheesa Collier, a 5-time All-Star and 2024's Defensive Player of the Year. The draft setup was simple: 2 captains, 1 pool of stars, and 1 live event streamed to fans across the world. But nobody could have predicted what Caitlin Clark would do once the cameras rolled. She didn't just show up, she reshaped the entire structure of the All-Star Game. When asked about her strategy, Clark smirked and gave a casual answer: "I'm going on vibes." But beneath that easygoing demeanor was a carefully calculated plan. With her first pick, she chose Aaliyah Boston, her Indiana Fever teammate, her friend, her frontcourt partner. It was more than loyalty. It was a public declaration: chemistry matters. Trust matters. This wasn't about picking names to impress the media. It was about building a team that made sense, and it started with Boston. Then came the move nobody saw coming. In an unprecedented twist, Clark announced she wanted to trade coaches. Her assigned coach, Cheryl Reeve, the very same Cheryl Reeve who had left Clark off the 2024 Olympic roster and had subtly criticized the attention Clark was receiving all year, was shipped off to Collier's team. In exchange, Clark brought in Sandy Brondello, the respected head coach of the New York Liberty. And just like that, Caitlin Clark didn't just pick a player, she rewrote the rules. The ESPN hosts were stunned. Producers scrambled. The WNBA had never seen a coach trade in the All-Star Game, let alone one initiated live during a nationally broadcast event. But the league approved it. The moment was so shocking it had to be verified in real time. Confirmation came down that the swap was official. Fans realized Caitlin Clark wasn't just the face of the league. She now had the power to bend it. It wasn't just theatrics. It was strategy. Clark wanted a coach who supported her, believed in her, and could lead her team to victory. Brondello, who had built a winning culture in New York, was the perfect fit. But the message went deeper. By removing Reeve, Clark sent a clear signal to the league's power structure: "I see how you've treated me. And now, I get to choose how I'm treated." Reeve, meanwhile, ended up coaching against Clark, now paired with Collier, her own Lynx player. And the subtext? Delicious. The very coach who deemed Clark unworthy of Team USA would now face her on the court Clark had made famous. It was basketball theater at its finest, and every frame of it played like a power shift in real time. And yet, despite the millions of fans who made Clark the top vote-getter in league history, her peers seemed to view her through an entirely different lens. In a ranking conducted by WNBA players, Caitlin Clark was voted the 9th best guard in the league. Not top 3. Not top 5. 9th. The woman pulling in more votes than the entire league combined was being downplayed by the very players she was about to share a court with. Even Paige Buchers, who hasn't played a WNBA game, ranked ahead of her. So did Sabrina Ionescu. Alicia Gray topped the list. And names like Natasha Cloud and Brittany Sykes also beat her out. It wasn't just odd. It was insulting. It revealed a cold truth. Clark's popularity with fans was not mirrored within the locker rooms. In fact, it was being actively dismissed. The disconnect was glaring. Here was a player breaking viewership records, moving merchandise, filling stadiums, and bringing in the kind of casual fan interest the WNBA had begged for since 1997. And yet the athletes within its own ranks were pretending like she hadn't earned her place. But Clark didn't blink. She embraced her leadership role anyway, crafting a team not out of spite, but with precision. She selected not just stars, but teammates she trusted, competitors she respected, and weapons she needed. A'ja Wilson, despite their heated matchups during the regular season and MVP tension, was added to the roster. Because Clark doesn't hold grudges, she plays to win. Then came the whispers. The smirks. The question hanging over the league that nobody wanted to answer. Why is the WNBA so reluctant to embrace its biggest star? Some say it's about race. Some say it's about seniority. Others say it's about power. But one thing is certain, Caitlin Clark is no longer just playing the game, she's defining it. Every pick she made, every choice she owned, was done in front of a home crowd that had turned out in record numbers to see her shine. Gainbridge Fieldhouse wasn't just a venue. It was her proving ground. She picked Boston, Wilson, Ionescu, Sabally, Mitchell, Jackie Young, and even Gabby Williams. Every name carried intention. Every move was a rebuke to the player rankings that tried to keep her down. And with Sandy Brondello at the helm, Clark crafted a team that wasn't just skilled, it was unified. The coach trade, while playful on the surface, exposed deep fissures in the WNBA's internal politics. Cheryl Reeve had snubbed Clark, downplayed her fame, and stood by silently as the Olympic Committee excluded the players, single-handedly bringing the league into the mainstream. Clark's revenge wasn't words, it was a trade. A quiet, calculated message. You didn't want me. You don't get me now. The fans? They roared. Social media exploded. CC record breaker trended for days. And while Collier threw friendly shade, claiming the trade gave her the advantage, fans knew the truth. Clark had just orchestrated one of the most brilliant power plays in modern sports. But beyond the coach drama, the rankings controversy, and the draft mind games lies the real story. This All-Star Game is Clark's opportunity to silence the doubters. Every assist, every three-pointer, every game-winning moment becomes a statement. The 9th-ranked guard? Not a chance. Not when 1.3 million people voted to see her lead. And this is just the beginning. The All-Star Game isn't the climax, it's the launchpad. For the fever. For Clark. For a league that now has no choice but to ride the wave she's created. Because without Caitlin Clark, there is no record-breaking voting. No sold-out crowds. No national buzz. The WNBA has been given its savior, and now it's up to them to stop sabotaging her. As we head toward tip-off in Indianapolis, the question isn't whether Caitlin Clark belongs. She's already proven that 10 times over. The real question is how many more barriers she'll break before the league finally catches up. If you believe in Caitlin Clark's power, her rise, and her rightful place at the top of the league, drop a CC record breaker in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss what comes next. Because this isn't just basketball anymore, it's history in the making.